Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for joining us. This is another quick video about Catalyst. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the most commonly used blocks in the block library, as well as the dynamic text that each block has. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to fire up Catalyst here. Under the toolbox, you'll see all the different categories for the programming blocks. So I'm going to start from the top one and then work my way down. Okay, under tools, what you have is monitor block. Monitor block is used to display data within your code. So if I wanted to display a certain piece of data, I would connect it to the monitor block and then I can see what it's doing. Reference hub and reference target kind of get used in pairs. So with the reference hub, I can connect any piece of data to reference hub and give it a tag or a name. Let's say I'll call this one start fan. And then when I can use this label start fan anywhere in my pages, anywhere in my program, within the same page or within multiple pages. And the way I use that is by using the reference target. So I can, as you can see, if I go to the smart tag and I do a drop down, you'll see it gives me the choice to choose the label. Now let's say I have another one. Let me draw in another one here. Okay, so this one, let's call this one start boiler. Okay, start boiler. Okay. And if I go to my reference target, you can see it gives me both choices. All right, so that's what that's used for. The text block is very simple. You can enter some text, static text, in your page to help another guy that comes after you that's looking at your program to see, what you were trying to do here in this program. And image is another static block. You can add some images to your pages if you choose to. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward there. I'm going to clean some of this so we can drag in some other blocks. Okay, I'm going to go to the compare category. In here you can see things like equal to, greater than, what else, less than, not equal to. I'm not going to cover every block, but I'm just going to cover some of them here. So you can see the compare block, what's in them here pretty quickly. And again, each block, as you choose the block, and if you go into the smart tag, one of the links it will give you, the smart tag will give you, is the help link. So I can quickly click on that, and it takes me to the help section for that particular block. So if you're not sure of what a block can do or what it's used for, you can quickly use the help link from the smart tag. Okay, you can also see the help link down here in the properties window in the bottom section here. Okay, so that was the compare section, compare category. I'm going to close that. I'm going to move on to the general category. General category has a lot more blocks in it. Let's choose some of them that I often use. Fault digital is useful. Fault numeric is very useful. For example, you monitoring the current of a motor, and you can put your CT value in the in slot and then put your limits, high limit or low limit, and you get the different faults. Okay, and the fault numeric also, as well as the fault digital, they all have a delay built in that you can adjust as you need to. Floating actuator is quite useful if you wanted to do a percentage coming in and you wanted to drive two relays to control a floating actuator, you could do that. Okay, let's clean some of this up. What else? Hysteresis is very useful. You can have different switching on or switching off times. Latch blocks are very useful for complex sequences. You can have latch digitals or latch numeric blocks. Limits is used all the time to kind of constrain what's coming out of a block. Let's say it was some set points or some calculated set points or some user adjustable set points that you didn't want to let the user go beyond certain limits, then you use the limit block to do that. Linear block is for resetting temperature curves or any type of reset calculation that you need to do. It's very useful. PID is self-explanatory, is used all the time. Ramp block is nice if you wanted to have a soft start or soft stop. You can use the ramp block to, for example, a VFD or modulating mixed air damper. You want to slowly open it or slowly close it depending on certain conditions. You can use that. And what else do we have here? Startup is nice. This block will get triggered only once, and that's on the start of the program, so you can use that to detect, for example, a power reset to the controller or something of that nature. Toggle block is nice. Every time there's a trigger detection from off to on, it will reset, it will toggle the output. Okay? So that was a quick overview of the general category. I'm going to, constants are pre-self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into that. Conversions, if you want to convert some values from digital to numeric or the other way around. Most of the blocks have automatic converting built in, so you don't really need to do anything with that. So I'm not going to go into that. Energy, this is pretty nice. It gives you a high and low peak a block where you can see the highest and lowest of the input, as well as the previous highest and lowest. So you can use it for temperature, kilowatt monitoring, all sorts of fun little things. Optimal start is quite useful. So the block is there. All you need to do is connect your slots with the right data, and it starts working just like that. Okay, so clean that out of here. So that was the energy category. HVAC's got quite a bit in there. As you can see, some nice blocks for staging digital stages or analog stages. You can do enthalpy, you can do lead lag block based on runtime. You can do the thermostat block, which is quite often used, or the wet bulb or dew point. So quite a bit in there as far as the HVAC functionality is concerned. So all the blocks are been done for you. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to clean this. I'm going to move on to hardware. Hardware is pretty self-explanatory. You got your analog inputs, analog outputs, digital input, and digital output. So I'm not going to get into that. Login is where your trend logging blocks are, so you can drag and drop, different types of trends that you want the controller to keep. For example, a trend digital for a digital point, or a trend numeric for analog points, and so on. Okay, so that's that. Logic is where you will see your ANDs, your ORs, your switches, digital switches. Nice, where if you wanted to, for example, based on a trigger, you wanted to pass a certain digital value. So let's say a freeset has tripped and I wanted to force my pump on. I can use a digital switch for that, rather than the normal operation of the pump. Okay, same thing with the switch. You have a switch numeric, and you can do the same thing that you can do with the digital switch, but with analog values. So let's say based on occupancy, I want to send in occupied set point or unoccupied set point. I can use to do that. If you had more than two things that you wanted to be able to select, then you can use the select blocks. Those are very nice. So I have a select digital. So depending on the number that I put in the select slot, I can choose which digital condition will go through. Okay, and I can do the same thing with the select numeric. So this is for numeric values. So I can have, in this block, for example, I can have 9 different things. Again, don't forget that just because you have basically all these slots, you need to use them. So what you can do is I can go into the smart tag and I go format slots, and I can hide, whatever I don't need. So you can see it becomes smaller and I only have 5. Okay, so you have options like that, quite flexible there. Okay, so I'm going to move on from the, well, there's XOR as well. It's just really nice to be able to differentiate between 2 digital states. That's quite useful. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next category. Okay, the long category and the Modbus and the SCC I'll cover in another video, because there's there's quite a bit of functionality in there which I want to cover in a little more detail. Let's go into the math category. Math category, as the name suggests, so you have your add, you can have divide, you can have log functions, you can have pretty fancy math functions, maximum, max 10 if you want to. This is quite nice, min, max, average, so this will not only give you the minimum but the maximum average for 10 inputs, which is quite nice. It's all in one block. And you have other things like multiply, negative is if you want to negate a number, and a whole bunch of other things that I'm not going to get into too much in there. Random is nice if you wanted to generate a random function to do funky things like random starts or any other random functionality you want. Okay, so I'm going to move on from math. Again, excuse me for going through this quickly. I just didn't want to spend too much time on everything because there's just too many blocks to cover in a quick video here. Let's go into the time category. Time category has all your minimum off, minimum on, one shot, real-time clock, which is useful to set the real time of the controller, as well as use the real-time values for other things that you might want to do in your logic. Okay, schedule, you have a regular schedule, you can do a schedule numeric for set points and things like that. You can do a schedule scene for lighting, for example. The other things that are very useful are start delay, stop delay. Sunrise and sunset has been covered in another video, which gives you quite a bit of functionality for lighting control or anything else that are related to sunrise and sunset. Timer is nice. When a condition is true, then the timer starts, and then you can reset it and use certain limits to trigger other functions as the timer is counting down. Okay, so that was a quick overview of the time category. The utility category has some signal generators like a sine wave, square wave. These are quite useful. For example, if I wanted to tell 2 controllers that to check each other to make sure the communication is good, I can use a square wave generator from one controller and send that signal to a second controller, and monitor that signal. And if it stops, the signal stops, then I know there's some sort of communication issue. That's one way to detect communication, so forth and so on. Okay, guys, this was a very quick video. I hope I covered the categories enough so you can see the power behind Catalyst and its blocks. The blocks will get updated quite often as we add blocks to it. You can also create your own custom blocks, which we'll cover in another video. Our contact information is going to be coming up soon. Please drop us a line and we'll answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.